Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm Alicia Haygood. This is a very special episode. Well, I think every episode is special, but this one's unique as this is our 3-year anniversary of our podcast. So thank you, Scottsdale, for coming in each and every week to learn about the amazing people, places, and events here in our city that we get to call home. And for those of you that only call it home 8 months out of the year or 6 months out of the year, or just come to visit, we appreciate you too, because you are what makes Scottsdale so whole and so unique. So I'm so thankful to you. And we are going to have a very special guest. We are going to have James Beech of the podcast Only Old Town here with me today, which is perfect because let's talk about Scottsdale since this is the Scottsdale 3-year anniversary. I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have James Beech at the table with me. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. When people first come to Scottsdale, I always tell them it's like a small town with a big city feel. It has grown from a simple main street to all the way far north in Troon. But that old town vibe is something all on its own. And James Beech, one of the hosts from Only Old Town podcast, knows this all too well. James moved around a lot as a child and before settling in Scottsdale as an adult. He's a serial entrepreneur, I would say, and James saw a need for the hospitality industry in Old Town to help their guests know the ins and outs of where to go and what to do. So growing over the years, James finally caught up with what's hip and what's new and started the Only Old Town podcast. So James, welcome to the other side of the table this week. I'm so excited to learn from you.
Thank you.
You were really in with the Old Town crowd, and it really has a vibe all on its own. I know we cover all of Scottsdale, and we're kind of more of the community aspect.
Right.
I moved around a lot as an adult for my husband's job, and we were always everywhere for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And when we did that, I treated every city as a guest or as a tourist.
Right.
So I dived in and made sure everything I got to experience. Talk about you growing up and moving around a lot as a child, because I think that maybe you realized or maybe don't kind of affected how you got started with this Only Old Town kind of vibe down here.
I was youngest of 8, so as my older siblings moved out, my parents would send me to New Hampshire for a year to go to school.
Okay.
So I learned really just trying to meet people. I lived in Atlantic City for a while, a lot of tourist towns.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Santa Monica. And just whenever you move, you have to meet new people.
Yeah.
And just try to get out there. And I was actually kind of shy, being the youngest of 8 at first. But then having to start to move around, have to meet people, because I never had to meet people when I was with the whole family. They would just introduce me. So now, so I was getting out there, wanting to find things to do, always looking for something different, and then not being afraid to walk into places and go, oh, what do you do here?
Right.
Saying, oh, what's this? This looks interesting, and, trying the different things. So, yeah.
I used to be really shy as a child too, never left home, wasn't one of those kids that went to camp and everything. And then my mom laughs at me because she's like, now you never want to come home and see anyone. Like, you just love exploring and getting out. I too understand that. And I think it's valuable because it's how we meet one another. It's how we learn things. And just by, asking a simple question like, what is this place? What do you do? How long have you been here? That inquisitiveness kind of got you to where you are today.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it was just, so even starting with that, when I started, the golf carts is really what started me in the Old Town area.
Okay.
I lived in Scottsdale a little bit. My son, we got him into the elementary school in Scottsdale. So
Okay.
we kind of moved over here. Got an apartment, then moved in. My back went out.
Yeah.
Happened again. Be careful when you're young. So I couldn't really get back into the catering. It went out like really bad
Okay.
at one point. And I couldn't get back into the catering. And my neighbor had told me about the golf carts. I'd asked him, and I said, I can do that. I'll do that.
Yeah.
So I started, shuttling people around. We bought a golf cart. And
So you literally like everyone that comes to Old Town, you'll see it at night, especially like you ride the golf carts around town, safer than walking or cheaper than just getting an Uber from bar to bar. Yeah.
But they deserve it because their insurance rates are ridiculous.
I bet they are, yeah. But let's back up a little. You started in the hospitality industry. You've kind of done it all. And when I mentioned that a little serial entrepreneur, you've done publishing in magazines, you've worked in the catering business and the golf cart and stuff like that. Did you always enjoy that aspect of life, being around people, helping people, giving them really a joyful time is what you did?
Yeah. That was always my, mostly helping. Some people I consider helping. I would go.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I kind of observe things, go in, and I don't really seem like the person that's going to be like outgoing in person.
I can agree with that.
I'll observe and I'll watch, and then I kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And then I'll start saying things and getting involved. I sold haircut products in Los Angeles for the longest time.
Oh my gosh.
And just little things. So paying attention, for example, we were trying to get, being Earth Day, we were trying to promote Earth products and buy bigger products.
Okay.
And this guy that owned the salon, one night we were out having drinks, and he said, I just don't know what to do to get my people to sell the bigger products. And I said, get rid of little products.
Oh, yeah, because they have nothing else to do it.
Right.
Well, that seemed logical.
Ran in, went into the salon that night, took out all the 8-ounce bottles, ordered 32-ounce bottles of everything, and next thing you know, we're selling $180 worth of hair products going out the door with a $50 haircut. So
it works.
Yeah, just things like I notice things.
Yeah.
Do things, and I say it. So.
Well, let's talk about you noticing the need down here in Old Town. You started off by working with the hotels, actually, kind of making the maps, guided tours of things that's going on to help their guests.
Right.
That's how only Old Town started and has evolved. So talk about how you found that niche.
So when I first started it all started with the golf carts, like I was saying earlier. So I live right in Old Town. I live in 70th and Thomas. So when I got the golf cart, the first time I went out, it was at night. Everybody was shooting around. I didn't know Old Town at all.
Okay.
So I kind of went home early and I said, I'm going to go out the next morning and look around first to see where these roads are. That would be a good thing to do because I could just kind of jump into things. And one of the hotels flagged me down, saw me out there during the day and said, are you driving during the day? If you are, I have rides for you. And I said, oh, okay. So I started going, and I went around to all the hotels. And I'll come out at 7 a.m. because that's when the breakfast restaurants.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll come out at 7 a.m. and start shuttling people around. So I became like the calls for like 15 different hotels. And I would do that every morning and say, I'm out. And then they started saying, have you heard about this place? Do you know about this? And then the people started asking me if I could do little tours on the golf cart. So it all kind of just started emerging. And then when I'm driving around and there's an ambulance going by and I'm on the phone and there's people in the cart and the hotel's calling me saying, have you heard about this place? Or do you know this restaurant? Or can you get people over there? That's when I developed the map and made it easier for them. This is where the golf carts go. And I tried to do it for like all the golf carts. I never really did. I had my phone number on the map. But it was, kind of promoting all the golf carts at the time. We were all tip based.
Okay.
So, I did that, and then I put the website. The first time I did the first edition of the website was just basically like a white pages listing. I know I'm dating myself. There used to be a thing called a phone.
I know it very well, actually.
Right. So it was basically just like a white pages listing, alphabetical, hyperlinked. That was in the Old Town area.
Okay.
But then when I got out of the golf carts, it started getting more harder to afford. I'm not a very good mechanic.
Yeah.
So those things are always breaking down.
Yep.
The insurance, when I left, it was almost $500 a month per cart.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So now it's just liability.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So when I got out of that, I kind of let it rest for a little bit. I didn't really get back into it. And then I got the bill that said, do you want to continue this? And so I called one of my friends, Brian, we're partners now in this. And I said, do you think we should continue this? And he said, yeah, let's do it if you think we can do it. So we started publishing the map again and, walking around all the things around here and saw the podcast recording, Pod Populized.
Yeah.
We tried this. That was, we did our first, we're almost through our first 13 episodes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the hip side of telling people what's going on in podcasting world.
Thank you.
You really have then seen how Old Town has shifted and changed over the decades and stuff like that. So to you, I'm only 5 years here.
Okay.
And I definitely am a little bit more Northern Scottsdale unless I have a reason to come down here. So it is different, right? In that sense. What's been the biggest shift and change that you've seen in Old Town since you've been here and started out?
Oh, so when I first started, like you said, I did the magazine, the entertainment district.
Yeah.
My first photo shoot was in a bar called Axis Radius. In the entertainment district, that was the only 2 bars in the entertainment.
2?
Yeah, they were one big bar. It's where Casa Amigos and the Bottle Blonde.
Yep.
That was all one big bar. You walked in the middle and there'd be like a heavy metal band on one side and a disco.
Oh my gosh, how funny.
On the other side. So
definitely not like that anymore.
No, I think it's the same owners though. So they went from that and built up that whole area. So that area has just gone crazy since I first moved here in the late 90s. But just in the last few years since they've been allowed to build taller, the construction that's been going on, the food that's come in here.
Oh my gosh.
So many restaurants, and just things that are changing. I'm feeling a little old. A lot of the places celebrating their 15-year anniversaries, and I'm going, didn't I drive you to the construction guy?
Yeah, time flies.
So I'm thinking, it's 10 years ago. Now, these guys are celebrating 15, 10-year anniversaries and stuff, and I was shuttling them around before they even had a business here. So.
That's cool. I think, so that just goes to show like what the city does and helping each other. Because this is what, maybe you can agree because you've lived everywhere too. There's something unique about Scottsdale where we generally care about helping each other grow and succeed and be successful in what they choose to do. You are a huge part of that by helping those people get there and teaching them and bringing them to places.
Yeah. A few of them was their first ads too.
Oh, that's
my magazine and my little maps and stuff.
Yeah. See?
I'd sip coffee and beers just celebrating her tan. And I took a picture of one of my first maps and sent it and said, remember this?
Oh, I love to hear that.
I think we even did it on a trade. We didn't have.
Right.
I'll get 10 cups of coffee.
Yeah, right. That'll get me through the first 3 hours. Well, you kind of mentioned at Old Town, we have the restaurants, we have the waterfront, we have the entertainment, the nightlife and stuff like that. Even the restaurants from breakfast, lunch, and dinner can shift, right? And who they're serving. It's really becoming one of those places where you eat, live, sleep, and it's your new bubble.
Right.
How have you seen that grow to where it's not just about like nightlife and stuff, and how it is really shifting to be a one-place stop for everything?
Well, there's plenty of big businesses here too. Yeah, just like kind of in between Fifth Avenue and the entertainment district. Yeah, that big building. There's Indeed in there. There's all kinds of companies coming in here. So there's always something going on. The apartments going up all over the place.
Yeah.
Just people want to live here. I don't know if you know this, but I think we were in the top 10 of places to work in the country, and we're the 10th happiest city in the country.
I don't want to brag too much because I'm fine with how people are right now. I don't need more influx, but I love that. I'm very proud of that.
Probably about 8 years ago, I think, when I first started the golf course, we were actually we were listed as the most vain city in the country. So we do have.
Fact that they have a category of that is comical to me, James. I'm sorry.
Just growing and developing a little bit more for kids too.
Yeah.
Making it a little more family friendly. When I first started, it was really shopping, eating, and bars.
Okay.
So now there's like tours. There's museums to go to.
That's fair.
The library is a really good library to go check things out. The park is beautiful.
Yeah.
Concerts.
Oh my gosh, the Scottsdale Civic Center redo is gorgeous.
Yeah. I was a little worried when I first saw it coming out, when they put it out for the Super Bowl, but they didn't finish the back part.
Yes, they did not. I was worried too.
But it was really, I was in there a lot during March, and there was a lot of people using it.
Yes.
It was really useful. I was really impressed, and I think it was those trees. grow up. Being a
Shade and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Listen, they've had Scottsdale Jazz Festival out there over the past few years. They're having more concerts, movies in the park and all that kind of stuff. They're doing a great job with it.
Yeah.
I too, when it was like 10 days before the Super Bowl and they had no grass laying or anything like that, I actually asked one of the workers because we were down here doing stuff and I was like, are y'all going to be ready? He's like, oh yeah. And I was like, glad y'all have the vision because I'm not seeing it right now. I'm happy with we've been here 5 years and the growth that we've seen is amazing. We have young kids. I've talked about that a lot. I love that you say that because it is. We come down here for, the art walks. My kids love going down to the art walks and seeing the artists. They are. The artists working there, they love that. Canal Convergence is amazing, and my kids love coming down to that. And to them, it's a treat to go out downtown to eat and stuff like that. So I love where the city is growing and progressing in that sense to make it everything for everyone.
Yeah.
What do you think Old Town is missing right now? And on the other end, what are we doing right?
I think, my thing, I know that, I still go into the hotels a lot and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm really just trying to get to the people that are working at the front desk.
Yeah.
To tell them, to get them knowing what's going on. Some type of maybe, I don't know if you call it a program or whatever, but I mean, as like marketing, just to tell you, a lot of the people in the stores will go around and say, oh, I went to the hotel and talked to so-and-so at the front desk. How long ago? 3 weeks ago. She forgot about you when you walked out the door.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be mean about it, but they have people coming in every day, talking to them. That's not their job is to tell everybody about your store.
Yeah.
But going in every day, like if the city could do something like with the ambassadors type thing.
Okay.
An ambassador for the hotels.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Tells them because I know they have the stands and sometimes their stuff is, but that's another company that does that and you have to pay.
But even then,
they don't see it.
Yeah.
I was going in, I grabbed some stuff off of the stands from here and I'd say, hey, did you know Canal Conversion starts today?
Yeah.
And none of the hotels knew. Nobody at the front desk would know that the Canal Conversion system.
Oh yeah.
So I would say more communications with the hotel,
front
desk, people like that. What they're doing right is I liked all the events that are going on this year. Really just bringing in more people. The art walks, I love those.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't turn into like a First Fridays type thing.
Yeah.
I like First Fridays. I used to go to that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now it's so crowded. Down the street, you're lucky you can get something to eat. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So here you're actually walking around talking to the people. And then the 4 sections, I think it's divided up pretty well.
I didn't even think about that. That is true.
Yeah.
So you go for exactly what you want and you know where to go for those areas so you're not in a
I mean, like I had and I noticed this too, but even some of my interviewer, like one of my interviews the other day said when he came here, he would go to the entertainment district and before we started doing tours, he never knew that there was a Fifth Avenue or an Old Town.
Yeah.
So if you come in for one thing all the time, you don't know about
That's true.
the rest of it. So that was just one of the things I really wanted to do with my podcast was get people know that, hey, if you're going here, there's also this over here. So.
Well, I will say, as I've learned too, 3 years into this, there's an endless amount of stories. And everyone's like, well, where are you going to find it? Even you being specific just to Old Town, you're going to have plenty of stories to tell around here, even the business owner stories or what to do or where to go. And I think that speaks volumes of what Scottsdale is as a community that we can do that, on such a big scale
I was joking with Brian. I said, if we couldn't get anybody else, there's 100 and something restaurants.
Yeah.
30-something restaurants. We do one restaurant a week for 2 years.
There you go. Get some good food out of it, right? Get a meal and then get them on.
Right.
All right, James, tell me, what is your favorite Scottsdale vibe?
I really like the art walk. I have to say, it's one of my favorite things. I kind of, a few people in my family are kind of artsy, and if they weren't, they hung out with artsy people.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like that vibe and just being able to stroll the art walk.
We'll get it in because we're about to be done with the heat coming up. I know.
I think this is the last Thursday that it's free in the museum.
Yeah.
Thursday night, if you're a Scottsdale resident, you can go.
Museum's gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Don't forget to go check out Only Old Town podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. They're also on social media, Instagram, and they have their website. Everything will be in the description of this episode as well, so you know exactly where to click and find them. Thank you for featuring us and James and Only Old Town and your partner. Go take care of your back, and in the meantime, get ready because it's about to be a fun weekend coming up with Mother's Day and everything too.
Yep. Very good.
All right. Have a good one. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the calendar of events. Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating, but all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Sean Shackleton with the Shackleton Group is here for you. Sean has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Sean at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com. Thank you, James Beech, for Only Old Town podcast. Go check it out. Again, if you're interested in what's going on, who's who here in Old Town, the restaurants, the bars, the nightlife, the museums, everything. James and his business partner are doing an awesome job. So thank you guys. Keep it up. For everyone else out there, happy Mother's Day this weekend. Whether you're celebrating with your four-legged, three-legged, I guess, some of them, fur babies, or your two-legged creature babies like myself, I want to wish you all a very happy Mother's Day. You deserve to be spoiled all weekend, and that is exactly what this city wants to do. Between all the restaurants, resorts, the spas, the trails, and everything out there, it is dedicated to you moms this weekend. Go take your time, and as I've learned as becoming a mom, sometimes Mother's Day is best spent alone. So do whatever you want because that is what you deserve. And if you haven't gotten your jazz fix quite yet and you missed Scottsdale Jazz Festival, don't worry. Ravenscroft is still having an amazing jazz lineup. Go check out their concert series. It is a beautiful venue for whether you want to go to a smaller date night there or see their one-of-a-kind, beautiful, top-notch concert hall. You are sure to get some amazing music and your heart filled with some good soul music as well. And speaking of music, the spring music series at Scottsdale Quarter is still going every night through the end of May. So come and enjoy free music, grab some to-go food at one of the restaurants, bring a lawn chair, and just hang out from 5:30 to 7:30. It's just a great opportunity to just be with one another. Have a wonderful week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.